Maddie just asked me, it's a privilege to be here and just share a little bit, just to talk a wee bit, share a little bit about my story. And I was thinking about my relationship with God sort of only came to life when I was about 16, 17, and really I experienced something real. It wasn't this distant, someone telling me what I should be doing or I should love God. It was something that I started to experience that became real to me. And I suppose as a youngster, one of the things that I was afraid of, or one of my biggest fears in life from that point, was I didn't want to miss out on all that God would have for me on this planet, and I didn't want to have essentially no regrets. I didn't want to come to the end of my life and be in a place where I'm like, man, I should have done this, or I wasted time doing this or that. And I feel that's something that we probably all care about to a certain extent. And so I was doing a bit of research and came across this woman who was a nurse, and she actually did speak to a lot of her patients over the years. And she naturally asked them, is there anything that you would regret over the years of your life? And she was talking to just a random population. There's probably some rich businessmen, there's some normal people, just teachers, working in a supermarket. It's probably just a complete variation. And they probably weren't Christians. Some of them may have been. It was just a random research, and she's actually wrote a book now. But these are the top 5 things that she talked about that people came up and said at the end of their life. These are the things that they came up with as far as regrets. And the funny thing, when I thought about it, you're probably most honest with yourself and with other people when you're on your deathbed, because you have nothing really to look forward to. You don't really care what people think because it's game over. So I think what's said here is probably very honest. And so the first one was this: I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not a life impacted by what other people thought. And she said the most common regret of all this was when people realized that their life was almost over and they looked back clearly on it, and it's easy to see how many dreams had gone unfulfilled. Most people had not honored even half of their dreams. And so they basically realized that maybe hadn't done the things that they had once thought they could have. The second one was, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. This came from every male patient that she nursed. They missed their children's youth and their partner's companionship. Women also spoke of this regret, but most were from an older generation. Many of the female patients had not been breadwinners, which is obviously different today. So that was about money, about chasing after possessions, about just being busy. The third one was, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. And as a man, sometimes that's something we really struggle with. And it goes on to say that they suppress their feelings in order to keep peace with others. As a result, they settle for a mediocre existence and never became who they truly were capable of becoming. Many developed illnesses related to bitterness and resentment they carried all of their life. Fourth one, I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. They basically went their whole life and so busy doing what they thought they should be and what people thought they should be. And is my house as big as my friends? Is my job accepted? Do people think I'm cool or whatever? And so they became so busy they lost touch with a lot of their friends and never got sort of rooted and planted in one position. And then 5, I wish I'd let myself be happier. This was surprisingly a common one. Many did not realize until the end that happiness is a choice. They stayed stuck in old patterns and habits. The so-called comfort and familiarity overflowed in their emotions as well as their physical lives. Fear of change had them pretending to others and to themselves that they were content, but deep within they longed to laugh properly, and silliness in their life again. So they couldn't be real. And so a lot of that came from acceptance and not feeling like they could actually be themselves. And so I thought about these 5 things, and it's clicked with me, because I realized that these 5 things are actually, you can combat these things. You can live a life of no regrets when you put God first in your life. The first one, dreams. God's got a dream for every person that walks this planet. Every person that's here tonight, God's got a dream for you. He wants to put desires on your heart. And you know what? It's not just dreams to just fulfill your own selfish, I want to do this for me, I want to do this for whatever. It's actually dreams that go further than that. They actually impact others. Dreams which will change lives. Dreams which will transform families. And I'm so privileged to be a part of a church that we see that on a weekly basis. We see just people being set free, experiencing true life, experiencing their true identity. And that's a dream of mine. And it's amazing. And I believe God's got that for everyone, because He's given everyone gifts and talents that they can use to pursue that. The second one is, money or jobs. Or I think it's very easy to always want more. It's very easy to always chase possessions. And we hear verses and maybe we interpret them wrong. You know, the love of money is the root of all evil. God's not saying that money's wrong. He's saying if you get the order wrong, it's wrong. And so when order's restored, blessings are released. And I believe that God, you know, money's one of the things that we can, like these people, ended up regretting at the end of their life. They chased money, they chased possessions, they chased all these things on the surface. And they came at the end of the day, they were honest. And they said, you know, I wasted my time. I missed out on my family. I missed out on friendships. I missed on all these things that really mattered, that go beneath the surface, that go beneath what people really think. And no regrets. Third thing, I wish I was able to express my feelings. You know, I believe all of us, we just want to be accepted. You know, sometimes we put on this facade, we put on this front to one another to try and look like we've got it all together, but we don't. If we're honest, we don't. And but it's so important that we can come into a place where we can be honest with people. We can be transparent and vulnerable. I believe that's the church. I believe the church is what God's called us to come together as a community of people and to be honest. And that's God's way of actually bringing healing and releasing bitterness and releasing wounds of the past. You know, life's got a way of packing on the pain. And it's so important that we release those things and through forgiveness. Like we had to forgive people last week on this pitch. Just come to 316 every year and you'll get an opportunity to forgive someone. Okay? You're probably all saying, yeah, you, Phil. You're an absolute. But anyhow, you're being serious? But you know, the next one was, you know, community. God has designed us for community, to be around people, to be together, and I think it's so important. You know, some of us maybe don't have parents or have never had parents that set a good example for us, but it's so important that there's something there to replace that. And I believe as you come together in the community, which we would call the church, you find a good local church. You know, it's one of them things, well, I went to this church, I didn't like it, or it's the same as eating food. I went into this restaurant, I didn't like it. Doesn't mean you stop eating. You just go and find a restaurant that you like, or you go and find a church that suits you and suits your needs, and it's got your kind of people. You don't have to like everyone. You know, you love them in the Lord and all that good stuff. Everyone's like, And the last one, thought life. You know, choice is the pattern. The Bible talks about you take every thought captive. You know, God has got a word on you, even though other people have said things about you. They've got opinions on you. The media, the news, the things that you see on TV is telling you to be a man or to be a woman, you've got to do this. Listen, God's got a word on you, and it's the final word. And it's the word that He loves you, He accepts you, He's paid the price with Jesus on the cross, and that you've been fearfully and wonderfully made. And so as soon as you start to receive that and accept that, it starts to change how you feel. It starts to change how you act. It starts to change who you are. All of a sudden you start to get a confidence. It's nothing to do with what happens to you or what people say. It's to do with something that's constant and always there. And that's why, you know, in the Bible it sometimes talks about Jesus as the rock, or God as the rock. It's immovable. He never changes. He always thinks the same about you. And you know, if we're really, you're just like, Phil, well, whatever, you know, God's too hard to believe. I don't see Him or whatever. You know, if we're really honest, like these people on their deathbed, you take away some of God's error for about 1 minute and see how well you do. I just want to encourage you tonight. I believe God's got great plans for every person here. And if you haven't committed to Jesus and to God, man, I just want to encourage you. Ask questions. Ask God to reveal Himself to you, because He's got great things in store for you. And go visit one of the local churches. Here, there's loads of great ones. And keep coming to 316 and keep forgiving people. Keep forgiving me when I hurt you. I'm only kidding on that. No tackles allowed, right? And that's me. I just want to finish off this verse, Romans 1:16. For I'm not ashamed about the good news of Christ, for it is the power of God at work saving everyone who believes. You know, it's the power of God. God is alive today. You don't have to wait until you're dead or on your deathbed. Let's live a life of no regrets and put God first in our life. Let's just pray. God, I just thank you for every person here, every family represented. I just thank you for Jesus. I thank you that you've given us everything that we need that pertains to life and godliness, God, that we can experience the goodness of God in our life. Even as we go through trials and hardships, God, you're still there, you're still present. And so God, I just pray you'll touch anyone or just speak to someone, speak to our hearts tonight, and just reveal yourself to be true and reveal the person of Jesus and to everyone here in Jesus' name. Everyone said...